Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Free for All. We are doing our Week 5 breakdown and waiver wire claims. So, what did we learn this week? Quarterback is a very fluid situation, except for the very, very top. So, in the number one spot for quarterback this week, we've got Ryan Tannehill, followed by Patrick Mahomes, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Justin Herbert. If you had told me at the beginning of the week, one, that the Titans game would even happen, I wouldn't have believed you. Two, if Patrick Mahomes is going to put 29 fantasy points up, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's still going to lose, I wouldn't have believed you. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 350 yards, wouldn't have believed you. This shows that there is such depth at quarterback. This is why you don't invest huge draft capital on these quarterbacks. But you got to give credit where credit's due. Justin Herbert, 264, 4 touchdowns. Wow. And, we saw the emergence of this next tier of streaming quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater had a solid game, 313 with 2 scores. Awesome. We saw, obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Deshaun Watson, welcome back to relevance. 3 touchdowns, 359 yards. That's awesome. That's awesome value. As we go into the buys, these top-tier quarterbacks are going to have weeks off. So you need to find the people that will replace them effectively. Teddy Bridgewater is somebody that I would be stashing on my bench. Jared Goff, someone I'd be stashing on my bench. Gardner Minshew, stash on the bench. All of these quarterbacks have value. We're going to see Ryan Fitzpatrick over the next few weeks have tons of value. I hear in the audience, ooh, what about Tua? Tua's coming in. Tua's not coming in. When you have a quarterback who is this hot, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, you're not benching them for anything. When we're going through and looking at running back, this was just a very strange top 2. We have Mike Davis and Todd Gurley. Mike Davis is turning out to be a much more versatile back than we anticipated. He has that Christian McCaffrey light ability to get all those targets, 9 receptions, 60 yards, and a score. That's not something that you can count on, but until Christian McCaffrey is back, you feel comfortable with him every week. Todd Gurley, 121 and a touch. That's great, but this team is so bad. You don't want to go anywhere near this. If you have Todd Gurley, sell now. This is an all-time high. Get out of the Todd Gurley business. You need to, because this is going to come back to earth. Arthur Blank said, we'll see on Matt Ryan. That, to me, says we're in rebuilding mode and get ready for us to tear this thing down. Miles Sanders, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs all did what you expect. Good. That is where you drafted him, why you drafted him, and what you want. Now, Darrell Henderson was a little bit of a surprise, but like Chase Edmonds, I think both of these guys, we need one more week to see if it's real. They both fell into the end zone at least once. Darrell Henderson had a receiving touchdown as well. I don't think that is sustainable long term. I think both of these backfields are going to be committees, and I'm not excited about either of them. Chase Edmonds, though, is a waiver wire stash. It was a wild week for wide receiver. Chase Claypool should have had 5 touchdowns. 5, folks. And he is not rostered in most leagues. In a standard scoring league, he had 42.6 points. 110 yards receiving. Are you kidding me? That is incredible. Now, let's be real. This is coming down to earth. Deontay Johnson went out with a back injury. If he comes back, he's going to eat into this Claypool mania value. Travis Fulgham had 10 receptions for 152 yards and a score. That is insane. But remember, just a few weeks ago, Greg Ward put a record game up as well. So what this says is that the folks saying Carson Wentz is dead are they're a little ahead of themselves. This is clearly a lot of production with folks that we don't know. Good for Travis Fulgham. Good for him. That's great. But he does not make it into my wide receiver waiver wire ads. Brandon Cooks is a waiver wire ad. He now has 2 solid performance games, but this was a gem. A gem, folks. 161 yards and a touchdown. This is a get-right game. The Texans were no longer playing for Bill O'Brien. They are playing for Romeo Crennel. Look for this next game to be the real litmus test, but you want Brandon Cooks on your team. Finally, the big surprise here for me was Mike Williams. Mike Williams had 2 scores. Keenan Allen is out with a back injury. We don't know how bad it is, but Mike Williams looked like what we wanted from Clemson in year 1 and year 2. But he's making that step. He has good connection with Herbert. You want him on your fantasy team. You need to put a waiver claim for him. Tight end. Oh, tight end. The standard Travis Kelce is leading the whole thing. You know, he had 108 yards and a score. But Jonnu Smith. If you had picked up Jonnu Smith when we told you to, you would have gotten only 40 yards, but 2 scores. He is the red zone target. You want him. If he's out there, you need him. Mark Andrews, 6 for 56 and a score. That's okay. That's okay. That is going to be good production in a game script that got out of hand really early. Mike Gesicki, welcome back to relevance. 5 for 91. When you got Fitzpatrick coming out of the woodwork, you hope that they would be able to put that type of yardage up. And they did this week. For waiver wires this week, obviously, Chase Claypool needs to be on every single person's radar. He needs to be drafted or picked up on waivers in every league. But some other sneaky ones. Chase Edmonds, if you didn't get him last week, you should look at him this week. Because he's got some value here. Kenyon Drake, something's not right. Yes, he got in the end zone. But Edmonds looks the more dynamic back. And they want to be further along with this Cardinals team than they are. Alexander Madison. Dalvin Cook pulled up lame and left halfway through the third quarter. But they say he's fine. You have to remember that the Vikings have one more game and then a bye. Are they really going to take their cash cow and run him when he has this groin injury for the game before a bye when this season isn't really a competition? I don't think so. I think Alexander Madison is going to carry the brunt of the workload, and he showed he could do it last week. He was awesome. So I would be adding him as a buy. Now, Jonnu Smith. You've got to just listen. Add Jonnu Smith. If he's out there, go get him. 10-man league, get him. 12-man league, get him. Anything deeper, if he's not already gone, go get him. Some other folks of note, Gerald Everett, 4 for 90. I'm not going anywhere near him. That is not something I'm interested in. It is just production that was kind of fluky. He broke a couple of tackles. It's nothing you can count on. Hunter Henry had a decent game, though, with 4 receptions, just 23 yards, and a score. But he is going to be Herbert's kind of end zone, red zone target. It's worth your time, especially with the split backfield that we've got. So check it out. And with the fluid nature of the current world, given the virus and all of the postponements, you need to be carrying 2 quarterbacks on your roster. With the loss of Dak, there's going to be a rush. That owner's going to have to go find one. Put in a waiver claim for Fitzpatrick or some of these other guys who are performing. Teddy Two Gloves. That'll be an alright one. Go get those guys. Thanks for watching our Week 5 wrap-up and waiver wire special.